Now, see, the good news is that there were flowers everywhere, but the bad news was that it could have been a funeral. When I say I was bored out of my mind, y'all, let's get into the 2024 Met Gala review. Hey y'all, it's your girl Tammy, and we are back for that first Monday in May. Sure as Anna is gonna wear that bob, honey, we're gonna see these fashions in 2024. And this year's gala's theme was unique and interesting. It was Sleeping Beauties, Awakening Fashion. Y'all know every year the Met that Gala got a theme, and this one was more so focused around the idea of clothes being very, very beautiful even after they expire their ability to be worn. So essentially, clothes are sleeping beauties, but we're trying to reawaken that fashion in a really delicate and respectful way. And as you know, the Met Gala, for those who don't, the Met Gala is really just a fundraiser. It is also fashion prom, but it is essentially a fundraiser for the Costume Institute at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. It happens every year, and they raise tons and tons of money because they sell seats and tickets to the dinner and to the event. But ultimately, it fundraises and helps to sponsor this like large exhibition that happens throughout the year inside the Costume Institute section of the Met. And this year's theme really focused on showcasing delicate clothing. So the Met has like over 33,000 pieces this year, which is amazing. Of, never before seen dresses that haven't been seen on couture runways, and design dresses, unique dresses from different sets of things. And a lot of them are expired. They can't be worn anymore. And there's some of them extremely fragile because they're even from like the 1930s and 40s. But they set up this cool multi-sensory exhibition. You can see the clothing. So if you get a chance to go to New York City, please check it out. I went back in 2017 when they had the Reed Kaba Kaba Comes They Go Sant exhibition, and it was really beautiful. I'll try to drop some pictures to y'all this week so y'all can see how incredible it can be. But I did not get to see I just picked up some sneakers when I was there. I did not get to see this current exhibition. Which really focuses on creating a multi-sensory thing. So for instance, there's like things you can smell, things you can touch that would mimic the garments without touching the garments. It seems pretty cool. But let's get into these fashions, honey, because as short as Anna's going to wear that bob, we're going to see these clothes. Now, before we go on, I have got to say the gala for me kind of fell flat. We still gonna go through these clothes, but I honestly have to say that I just wasn't feeling this year. And I think it's because we know that a certain spark was missing. I think there's just some girls that have to be there, that have to be in the mix, that we're looking for specifically. We had some of our girls out there that are gonna be dressed well, dressed in good attire, your Zendayas, your Janelle Monáe's and others. But I just think, whenever there's some of the people that we know that are missing, your Rihanna's, your Blake Lively's, I wanted to see what Beyonce would be wearing, who has not been since 2016. I want to see what Megan Thee Stallion is wearing. She has a great relationship with Law Roach, and he tends to work with her on things. So I really wanted to see some of our girls that we don't get to see, but who I think help bring the show, be here too. Even Taylor Swift and Hallie and Chloe. I just feel like we were missing out on so many people that really normally give it to us. And because we didn't have that, I think it made for like a lackluster vibe with it. And Zendaya can't save it, honey. I don't care if she coming in 7 outfits. It just wasn't going to be what it was going to be. We need you back, Rihanna, because I know you didn't have the flu. The way she showed us all her Fenty events, but then skipped this one. It's safe to say that the girls missing was noticed. Now, before we go on, I have got to say the gala for me kind of fell flat. We still gonna go through these clothes, but I honestly have to say that I just wasn't feeling this year. And I think it's because we know that a certain spark was missing. I think there's just some girls that have to be there, that have to be in the mix, that we're looking for specifically. We had some of our girls out there that are gonna be dressed well, dressed in good attire, your Zendayas, your Janelle Monáe's and others. But I just think, whenever there's some of the people that we know that are missing, your Rihanna's, your Blake Lively's, I wanted to see what Beyonce would be wearing, who has not been since 2016. I want to see what Megan Thee Stallion is wearing. She has a great relationship with Law Roach, and he tends to work with her on things. So I really wanted to see some of our girls that we don't get to see, but who I think help bring the show, be here too. Even Taylor Swift and Hallie and Chloe. I just feel like we were missing out on so many people that really normally give it to us. Let's get into these
And
clothes, honey. So I have to give honor to beautiful gowns. I feel like there are some people who just watch the Met Gala for the purposes of just seeing pretty dresses. They're not necessarily the couture, runway, all defining folks. They're like, hey, I like it or I don't. So let's honor some of those people by talking about some of the pretty gowns that I don't feel like necessarily all stayed on theme, but just were really, really beautiful looks anyway. First, we have Angel Reese, and she's in 16 Arlington. I think she looks amazing. This is, I think, Angel's first Met Gala. She looked beautiful. I loved her hair and makeup. She's gorgeously tall anyway, so it really wasn't that hard for her to present very nice in this gown because the length of it and the sheer bottom part was really lengthy, so it was helpful that she was a tall girl to begin with. Love that she's playing amazing for the Chicago Sky, and that finally the WNBA is going to not lose their mind and put them on television as they will. But I thought she did great for her first gala. The feathers are a bit something I'm kind of over at this point in terms of fashion, but the color was really, really beautiful on her. Next up, we have Venus Williams, and she's in custom Marc Jacob. I thought she looked amazing from head to toe. Her hair was beautiful. Her makeup was stunning. She has like a beautiful, gorgeous, like pretty lioness panther vibe about Venus that's always so pretty to me in her silhouette and her vibe. Her skin was glowing. This like mirrored bottom part. Marc Jacobs really was doing it on the girls this gala, and it really, really showed in everything the reflective nature of her dress. I think it could have been on theme, I guess, if you wanted to give some type of like maybe reflective water vibe. But she looks stunning regardless. So I loved everything from the makeup. And for me, Venus and Serena always have like iffy looks sometimes. So I love it when they hit the nail on the head. Kylie Jenner was in Oscar de la Renta. I thought this was beautiful. I thought it was kind of boring though. But it was a beautiful gown. It very much gave wedding day. This was also a nice look for Kylie because I feel like she had less makeup on than we normally see her in, and I feel like that helps to maybe give some credence to her youth and how beautiful she is without so much on. I love a good glam face, but I think less is more sometimes with her because we see her face so done up. The shape and silhouette were really beautiful on it. It just wasn't really that inspiring. It gave David's bridal. Naomi Campbell was in Burberry. Burberry dressed quite a few people this gala, and she looked really, really beautiful. Naomi can't really miss, honey. Blue dress, gorgeous, could be water at best, could be stunning bridesmaid, mother of the bride. Still loved it. And honey, we continue. We got Kaya Gerber, and she's in Prada. It's beautiful. It's very plain Jane though. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's sequins. She looks like her mom with the big hair, Cindy Crawford. But it didn't really fly off the page for me, but it is a gorgeous gown. Next, we have Ashley Graham, and she's in Ludovic de Saint Serin. I want to say that's a lot of words to say together. But I thought this was really beautiful with the corset. Everybody had a corset. It seemed like this entire event, but the corset looked well to me. I hated her hair though. I have to say, like, I thought the dress was beautiful, but I just thought the hair did nothing for her. That stiff stuff bang with that back up, I could not stand it. It just didn't work well to me. And I get that the front of her dress was very shiny. So I don't know if that was the thought process when they were going with her hair, but I feel like it just took away from the look. Um, I would just want it more or something done a little bit slicker but better, but not with that short bang, honey. It was a roughness. We have a Nook Yai, and she's in Swarovski. She looked gorgeous. This was a blue jumpsuit, and her skin against that jumpsuit. Woo! When I say eight, gorgeous from head to toe. The crystals that were giving so much, like Swarovski dressed about 5 people for this event, I believe. And the amount of crystals they put into everybody's outfits were going anywhere from like 22,000 to 70,000 full on crystals. And it looked gorgeous when it was done. So this ombre blue jumpsuit, absolutely loved it on her against her skin. I love the way her hair was done. It was just phenomenal. And then we have actress Greta Lee. She was in Luevo. I like this. I don't love this. I feel like we've seen this. But it was a beautiful gown. It was gorgeous in the front, especially like the adorned flowers were really garden-esque, I suppose. I didn't really completely love the hair. It gave an elf-like vibe to me if I had to think about it. I didn't hate it, but I honestly didn't love it. And I feel like we've seen it before. Now, next up, we got our girl Cardi B, and we deserve a moment with this gown. I have to say, Cardi for me in this gown wasn't a favorite on like pretty, hence beautiful gowns prior to now. I feel like this was more of a dramatic moment. And I think over the time that we've had Cardi on the carpet, she's really become somebody who is about the moment and not so much about it always just being pretty and cute. And you can tell that this was something that was, done intentionally to take up the space on the carpet, because when she had to take the photo, you had to really pan out if you were a photographer to spread, because the gown is huge. There was 9 men that carried this gown across them steps and all around. And I think her and Colin's connection to this was more so about just creating a moment where it would be so extreme, because it was just like a bunch of black tulle. This was a gown by Window Sun, and I feel like this was just more about the drama of the moment that would be captured, and not so much about long term. I think they said it took 2 months for the gown to be made. It's a Chinese designer, but just to me, from a aesthetic perspective, it's not a beautiful gown to me. But it is large. It is disruptive, which is always what's going on in the gala. It's like, be disruptive in terms of the fashion. And Cardi created a great moment. I just didn't love it in terms of the design, but the execution of the moment was amazing. Now, honey, when they say redheads have more fun, I have to agree, because Divine Joy Randolph, I'm sorry, excuse me, Oscar Award winning actress Divine Joy Randolph was slaying so hard in this Gap gown. This denim masterpiece, in my opinion, was phenomenal on her and was not getting the credit it deserved. So Divine was dressed by the Gap, but specifically the gown was designed by Zach Posen. She looked amazing. The structure and design that goes into this. If you've ever run across Zach Posen, unfortunately, he closed his fashion house, I think like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It was a sadness to see him go. I hate when designers that are really, really good leave or just aren't in the market anymore due to financial situations or whatever. And I'm really, really glad that they ended up having her work with somebody who is a master at construction. And if you've ever seen Zach Posen on Fashion Runway, then he knows about construction and garment. And he's like a FIT kid. He's that fashion nerd that you think about that knows how to sew by hand. And so the construction on this Gap dress was amazing. You don't think that this is denim when you see how it moves. It moves like a courtyard gown on a princess. Her hair was amazing. That skin tone with the color of the red. Whoo, the eyebrows, everything was sharp. The makeup was on. Do you hear me? Looked amazing. I loved it. And it's hard to construct denim this way and to not make it just look like jeans, and it looked amazing. Even the train looked amazing. So I thought this was a fantastic look and went with the theme. Divine looked great. Now, here's a moment that I do really miss the Sierra, honey, because when I talk about the on-theme queens, I am talking about her too. So I kind of hate that we missed her for this Met Gala, because she's also somebody who really focuses on being on theme. And so do these ladies. So Janelle Monáe was in Vera Wang. I thought she looked very beautiful. This was a gorgeous, like kind of reflective water drop design. When you think about gardens and you think about like lakes and rivers that run through things like that, ponds. This was like a perfect theme. And we know Janelle always serves a beautiful, beautiful look. And we also get to see her shape more, because sometimes depending on what she's wearing, you don't always get to see that. So this was really, really gorgeous. We got Giovanni Engelbert. She is actually the creative director of Swarovski. She's also one of my favorite people in the world in fashion. She literally always kills. She's like a background person. So she's been like a fashion stylist for a long time. She worked with Vogue overseas. She's had a bunch of fashion stylist jobs and fashion industry jobs, and she knows her thing. She also was responsible for dressing a couple of the women tonight in their outfits. So she looked amazing. They looked amazing. She looked fantastic in this green. Giovanni never really misses. She just always looks great. Keke Palmer. Just brown fabulousness. Walked out hair-esque up to the top. She's in Marc Jacobs. She looks stunning in that silver against her skin. Her ponytail was amazing. It was futuristic and fly at the same time. It just gave that black girl extraness. I don't know how y'all felt about that, but I loved it. She was one of my favorite dressed people of the night. And then Jodie Turner Foster, who was in Burberry. And I love that she had this this sort of white, I guess like cap, like shortcut and then opened up to, this gorgeous like crystal piece, diamonds, and then just like this really beautiful kind of long lace train that was flowers. I will say this. Messy press. Why they said Jody was there, but Lupita did not come. Child, the way I screamed. Oh, I said because she messing with that lady husband. Anyway, this looked fantastic. I think all of them really stayed on theme and focused on the garden and time vibe. I think a lot of the work looked really fragile, and looked like something that over time would have aged and you can't really wear it anymore, but you have respect for the garment, unlike Kim Kardashian and that Marilyn Monroe dress. But I feel like these were really on point to how fragile design can be and how fragile material can be over time. These things wouldn't be able to be worn multiple times without falling apart. So this was on. Now, when it comes to little art-esque girls, the artistic, different girls, I feel like you give like the Denise Huxtable vibes in terms of you're gonna always get a Gordon Gartrell no matter how much you try, and no matter how much you push them to do something different, they're just gonna always give you a little bit of extra. It's gonna look a little crazy, but at the same time, that creativeness is what we love and fuel them in their art and their work and what makes them unique. And I think a lot of times we see the same people in these things because it's a part of their personality and their branding. So first up, we got Erica Badu, and she's in Comme des Garçons. She looked right on point for the designer and for the theme of the show. This is something that Coms would actually have on someone. She looked like she would be from the 2017 Met Gala. And it's right on point for Erica. She wears 18 blankets, honey, and a top hat. So this was right on target for her. They hooked up with the right designer. It's not a favorite look for me. In general, I don't like all of the different bathrobes, but I do feel like this is perfect for Erica. It's perfect for the actual theme of the show, and it's absolutely right for the designer. Next up, we got Doja Cat, honey, and she is wearing a floor-length wet t-shirt, okay, by Venti Mons. She was running around town looking crazy all week long, to be honest with you. She was running around town with their creative director. She was in saran wrap, top and bottoms, where her booty was showing. She had towels leaving the hotel on her head and on her body and anything. I'm not sure what the theme is. I get Venti Mons. I feel like I know them more so as a brand for like menswear and specifically like for streetwear, not so much for high-end fashion. But they do have things. I personally loved Doja Cat's makeup. It looked really, really amazing. The tiered eye, gorgeous on her, the haircut. And we expect her to do different things. That's what makes her a unique performer and a really out there performer and a really good performer. And I would say a great entertainer. Because she thinks outside the box. So this seemed on brand for her and her personality. But I didn't really love it on the carpet. I didn't think it was that great. I would have loved to see something different because she has given us great Met Gala looks before. But I do think the makeup was amazing. Next, we have Blackpink's Jenny Wu, and she's wearing a liar. I I don't love this, but I don't hate it. I don't love it for this Met Gala. I just something about it just doesn't go to me. It gives something else, but she looks beautiful in it. I do love the um like the openness of the stomach with the chain. I like that part. The color is really beautiful. I wish she could have themed it and they could have themed it towards that. The design is on point with the lie, but I would have wanted to see something just a little bit more. I don't know if this is supposed to theme water. I have no idea, but I would have loved to have seen something just a little bit more ethereal on her. I think it would have looked gorgeous. It would have been lighter. And I think it would have worked. And then last we have FKA Twigs, and she is wearing Stella McCartney. And I think Sierra's old dress. I would find that picture and drop it in the comments. But I'm almost certain Sierra wore a dress like this with H&M, and she had that same outfit on. But I thought that this was unique and cute. It goes right on theme with her style and her look. And again, the Denise Huxtable bunch is gonna always just give you something different, something that you're gonna get at an art class, exit exam, but it works for them. This was another floor length gown. I think just we need to take a moment to breathe in. I love this look, and from Aaliyah Joy Moon, who happens to be she's currently on Broadway. She's in the play based on Felicia Key's life. And it's a Monday, honey, so Broadway is closed. But she's wearing a beautiful gown by Kalina Strada. And I thought this was so beautiful. It was so light and airy when she walked. I thought the way her hair was designed, the shoes she had on, I think they were Renee Cavalli. Cavalia. You know, it was just nice to see her uh walking across the carpet. The dress just flowed so beautifully, and the colors were so gorgeous, because everybody kind of does the pinks and the light purples, the light blues, the whites. We kind of seen a lot of that, so this one adding a lot of color into it but still making it very light and airy for the garden. And that's what you normally would see, like different types of flowers. So it was nice to see her in this. I think this was her first Met Gala, so I think she did really well. And we have Mindy Kaling and Gavda Gupta, and I thought this dress was really beautiful. I love his work. He's one of my favorite, like, Indian designers, and I do love that so many people of color were represented on the carpet in terms of designers that we're starting to see actually walk with the people that they've dressed and also be included more and more in the fashion world. And I'm loving when I see people of color on the carpet wearing people of color. Is one of my favorite things. We have a lot of old school designers who constantly get attention, and so it was really nice to see Mindy in this. I love his work. It's always very sculptural. His bridal gowns have always been like that. Most of his gowns have been like this, and so we have seen this silhouette before. Meg actually wore one of his pieces to, I believe it was the Oscars, like a year or two ago. So it was really, really beautiful, but it never looks bad. She looked beautiful from head to toe. The hair was really simple. The jewelry was simple. Everything just really worked. This is the beauty and minimalism when you put it together as an outfit, when you don't have to do too much and you still come off looking stunning. When Mindy looked great. Yeah. Next up is Mona Patel, who I was not familiar with. She is a fashion entrepreneur. She is also a philanthropist. She was someone who got a really big push last night in fashion media, just because she is she's more on the technical side of things, on the back end side in the fashion world. But she looked stunning last night on the carpet. She was in a gorgeous dress. She was styled by Law Roach. She was in this gown that took 8 months to make, just because the technical aspects. If you go back to the beginning part of this video when I'm first talking about the actual Met Gala, you'll see her dress, and on the arms there were beautiful butterflies that were moving technically. So the back of her dress was actually wired to have those butterflies move the entire time. It was completely gorgeous. It was technically dope, and it was also just a beautiful, beautiful gown, as you can see, with the train, very sculptural on the back, the sides with the lace, and also just like the sheerness of it. So it was really gorgeous. And against her skin, her visual for her makeup was very, very clean aesthetic. She was shiny and glowy, but it wasn't childlike. We could have glitter and shit like that. It just be too much. It just was perfect. And her skin tone with the gown, and the gown working perfect, and the butterflies, it was absolutely gorgeous. And so it was nice to see this on somebody who isn't a celebrity, who isn't well known. And it goes to show you that really anybody, honey, all we need is a few dollars and a couple of stylists and some hours and some months, because it took 8 to make, and a little bit of money. She's not exactly poor. And we could all be Rihanna. Now, Miss Twyla, honey, she came to slay. This South African queen was letting y'all know, look, I know all the other girls that are here that normally turn out aren't here, so I'm going to make sure I stand in their place. And she certainly did, honey. She wasn't serving us water. She was serving us sand. And it was in the form of Balmain, honey. So she was wearing a beautiful dress by Olivia Rousting. It was sculpted like based off of the cast of her body. I was like, okay, girl. And then it was created with 3 different colors of sand and microcrystals. So the fineness of her dress looks like sand, and there was some sand aspect to it. But Olivier is not that crazy. He made sure that it was mostly crystal so that it would obviously adhere to the cast molding and the studs, and that it sparkled every time she moved. So literally, when we're seeing her move around, we're seeing all these beautiful sparkles. The dress is literally sparkling at every angle. It's ridiculous. It took so long to make, but it is gorgeous. And she looked stunning in it. It looked like it was just a cast of sand on her body. And they strategically placed like this really gorgeous amount of sand on her shoulders so that it just looked like she came out of the ground. She had the nerve to have a purse that was a timer. I was like, oh, okay. It was amazing. The look was just well thought out. The train was organza at the bottom. It was a mermaid, and it took three men to carry her multiple times up the steps, as you can see. So this was not to be played with. It's like this dress was literally made for her body, and she executed so well. Hair was well done, just very simplistic at the top because all we cared about was this look, and it was like one of the largest looks of the night. I think this is one of my favorite looks of the night, and she killed it and she nailed it for her very first Met Gala. As y'all know, multiple people were dressed by multiple houses last night. You had Chloe, you had Burberry, you had Balenciaga, we had Swarovski, you had so many different people who were dressing folks, Marc Jacobs. But I want to take a moment out to just talk about how sometimes, even if you're dressed by the same people, it could go well and not go well. And let's talk about Balenciaga. They dressed both Serena and Michelle Yeoh last night. And honestly, this was one of the most disturbing things I saw. Serena looked amazing. I thought I really didn't love the gloves that much. I didn't think she needed them. She has beautiful arms, but she wore them. But this actually executed well. And whenever you see like a wrinkled design, something that can like easily look crinkled, you got to be careful as to whether or not it'll look like aluminum foil or cellophane, or whether it will just look like a beautiful dress put together. And I feel like shot certain ways when she walked the carpet, it actually really looked like a dress that was really gorgeously made for her. The gold was really, really pretty. And it's a long train. So that's the other thing of how this can really go from looking like a dress to looking like a covering for a baked potato. But Serena's dress by Balenciaga it pulled it off well. But when you got to Michelle Yeoh, it looked like aluminum foil. You can't tell me that's not barbecue. And it was so disturbing because she's a beautiful woman, looks amazing, and I feel like she just deserved better. I hated this. This literally looked this had just come off a baked potato and they wrapped it around her body. And it's the same designer. And that silver, maybe that's what it is. But I just think that designers who are doing the crinkle thing, we see this earlier in the year with who did we see this with? We saw a crinkle design of a dress that just did not execute well. On our girl from Abbott Elementary. Why is her name escaping me? But it is. And I feel like you've got to figure out, especially as not just the person that's getting dressed by the designer, but the designer, if this is not working, or if it just looks like it could really have come from Reynolds Wrap, go ahead and hang it up and change up the look of it. Give her something different. There's so many ways that this could have gone. And I was so disappointed in the way that they had Michelle Yeoh looking in that carpet last night. Now, in my opinion, the night is really for the ladies, but the are some men that show up and definitely show out. And this year was no exception. In fact, this year was kind of nice to see some of the guys that came dressed. Lewis Hamilton was in Burberry, and we're going to get back to his outfit. Because when I tell you I love this man and the way he shows up for Black people in fashion, we're going to go back to Lewis in a minute. We had Bad Bunny. He was in Margiela. I really feel like he went on with the theme. He really worked with the whole Prince vibe. He was also wearing a corset under here and said he was about to die multiple times. When he was talking a lot on the red carpet, it was hilarious. So it was clear that he committed to the theme. But he also might have needed some air conditioning later on in the evening. We had Odell Beckham, and he was in custom H&M tux. I personally didn't love this look. I don't like the embroidered situation. It gave grandma's blanket to me. I also think the way where the jacket cuts off at, I didn't feel this at all on him. I absolutely hated it. The embroidered part it didn't fall well for me. And then the fact that the jacket was short, I just didn't think it did much for him. He's gonna always be a pretty guy, but and then we have Barry Keoghan. He's in Burberry, and I loved his look. It went well with the garden. I think a lot of people, when they think of the garden and they think about a garden in time, automatically it goes to like a Snow White, princess castle thing. And I think we got a lot of these designs. But I want to go back to Lewis Hamilton and how he consistently shows up for people of color during these moments. So people don't know, Lewis Hamilton obviously is known for being a race car driver, but he is also been a philanthropic person of the arts, and specifically making sure that people of color show up in places. So a year or two ago, he went to the Met Gala and he paid for his table, and he made sure that Black designers were all at his table. Because unfortunately, you don't always see us in those spaces. And so I think he paid for 2 tables full of Black designers at the Met Gala last year. This year, or it was this year or last year, this year, he wore all Black. And he wore it specifically, obviously Burberry dressed him, but also because he was honoring the first Black designers and gardeners in the UK. My bad. So he was trying to wear all Black, saying all Black everything. honoring the first Black gardeners in the UK to be able to like do work openly in major spaces. So he just continues to amaze in terms of representing for people of color in spaces where they don't often get seen, and constantly shouting that, hey, we're here too. So next up we have Coleman Domingo, and he is another one who I absolutely love. The man just is stunning anyway. But he was dressed in Willie Colavaria, and what I love more than anything is just the uniqueness of the fact that he was carrying calla lilies, and a lot of his outfit, especially the pants, were kind of shaped around that flower, just a different vibe. But he also was paying tribute with his outfit because he, while wearing a suit, wore a cape. And he specifically stated that last night he was wearing it in tribute to Chadwick Boseman as well as Andre Leon Talley. And we obviously know Andre was a editor in chief at Vogue at one point, and he was the editor at large there. And he was a huge part of why we enjoyed this ceremony. And it was beautiful to see him honor Andre, who's no longer there and usually was on the red carpet in a cape, and as well as Chadwick, who went to, I believe, his first Met Gala like a couple years, like a year or so before he passed away, and he also wore a cape when he went. So it was just beautiful to see him honor them. We have Damson Idris, and he's in Bulgari. I loved it. I feel like his outfit was probably my favorite of the night. Just fit him really well. He looked stunning. It's between him and Lewis Hamilton for me, but just a man in a really good suit. Looked well, looked clean, looked amazing, and knows his body. So it looked great on him. Donald Glover was in St. Laurent looking like every 1980s Macy's middle America manager ever, but I loved it. It worked somehow for him. I think it was that he had the mustache. That's what made it feel like he was watching somebody that might have managed a DSW at some point in their life. But he looked good in the suit. It worked. It gave 1985 father, but it worked. And of course, the illustrious, amazing architect Law Roach. I actually don't know who Law is wearing. It's probably something from his closet, his collection. He owns so many clothes outside of whatever he does for work. Like he just has stuff in his personal archive. So he looked amazing. I love the necklace, and of course, he dressed Zendaya as well as like two other folks last night that looked amazing. So shout out to Law Roach. Now, honey, we have seen some stunning outfits. You know he's going to see some hot messes last night. And even though we had some people in the front end that was a little questionable, these people certainly took the cake as what the hell were you doing? And first up was Zoe Saldana and Chloe. This was so disappointing. So were many of the people that were in Chloe last night. It's almost as if there was no care put into what was on the carpet. Zoe has actually worn great stuff before. This was just super disappointing. I feel like the ghost of Nina Simone was hanging around today and said, I'm going to make sure you pay for what you did when you try to play me in that film. But I hated this. We've seen that Chloe Bell on 1,000 people already. This was disappointing. It seemed like she just came from her house and somebody threw a slip on her around the corner and she showed up at the red carpet. It was so disappointing. And then to have them in a group together looking a mess. It was beyond belief. Next up, it was Kim Kardashian and Margiela. I also think she looked a mess. She said she put a sweater on at the last minute, not because she was cold, because she thought it would add some fashion points. Let's have a moment. When are we going to be honest about the fact that really Kim never really had great style before Kanye? And since him, we have seen that has falling a lot since then. I feel like, yes, she can be with stylists who dress her well, but I feel like Kim, that we have to be honest about the fact that her foray into fashion, her introduction into that world and the immense way that she was in there, because it was not prior to him, was Kanye West. And his maniacal Barbie-esque, I always want to dress you vibes did help in making sure she executed a lot of amazing outfits throughout the relationship. Sans their departure from each other, thank gosh. You can tell she just doesn't have that vibe and sort of will be dressed by somebody who'll say, hey, this looks good on you, and she goes with it. And as a result, sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't, but it's starting to hit less and less. Even with those relationships with Balenciaga and others, it just doesn't flow well because I don't think she has a great personal style. So it is what it is. I feel like it showed up last night. And this was disappointing because this was also John Galliano, who dressed multiple other people last night and looked amazing, and who we know to do amazing costume level, as we saw on Zendaya multiple times, and others work. So this was disappointing. I feel like John didn't even really care. Next, we have Lizzo and Victor Wine Santo. I don't know who this was, but Lizzo need to kick their ass. I was not feeling this outfit at all. I know she's probably supposed to be a tree stump. This was disappointing on multiple levels, even for picking this outfit and silhouette and the thought process of thinking that this would be creative. I know Lizzo was a creative soul, but she looked like I don't know, this looks like a condom wrapped in a flak jacket. I don't know what was happening. I'm confused. The top of her head, it looks like that little cup you use when you have to clean out your eyes with eye wash. It was disturbing. It could be a receptacle, it could be multiple things. What it wasn't was cute. It wasn't beautiful. I hated this look on her. This is a return after, a lot of modern controversy situations. So I wanted Lizzo to really show up and show out. And that little window for her titties, I didn't understand what was going on. So this was disappointing, and she should have known better than to come on the carpet with this. Lastly, I'm gonna give some grace because this is not really her foray, but I really hated the way that they had Deborah Roberts looking. This was so disrespectful on multiple levels. That garnish, like hair vine that they put in her. Deborah Roberts is a news anchor. Like she's a reporter. She's not somebody who normally does like the carpet and all of that. So I do understand that part. The dress itself wasn't that bad, but them shoes, I was not feeling. And the fact that they had her kick her leg out multiple times, knowing that them shoes wasn't it, honey, if they didn't tell her anything, they could at least told her to wear a higher heel and show it, and then, head on up the carpet and change into them shoes. But the fact that they had her kick out her leg to show us the mules, I was so disappointed. Here's the thing. I don't understand this. Al Roker could predict the weather, but he couldn't tell his wife that this outfit wasn't going to hit. I was so disappointed in this look for her. She's gorgeous. Her skin is gorgeous. The dress, again, floral, wasn't bad. Not expecting her to look like a supermodel, because that's not her foray. But whoever told her to put that vine in her hair, they don't like her. Now let's get into it. Our best dress of the night, folks. So we get into our best dress, but I gotta put out some honorable mentions because, honey, there were some people that absolutely served. They didn't make, for me, my best dress list. They might have made yours. Let me know in the comments who you like, who you don't like, who you were feeling, who you weren't feeling. But I still love what they did. And right now, I have to give it up to Irina. She was in Swarovski. She looked amazing. The crystal dress was 22,000 crystals, I believe. It was something like that, like 77,000. It was a lot of crystals that she wore last night, and they turned out to be really beautiful. They accented her arms well, the necklace. I mean, it was just, she did great work. So it was just amazing to see. She was one of the girls that was dressed by them last night, and it showed through and through. Next up, we had Iris, and she was in Versace. I thought this was really beautiful. I know Donatella was there last night. I thought her dress was nice as well, but this was just a gorgeous butterfly-esque vibe to me. It's already been on the runway for Versace, but I love the fact that somebody actually wore it on the carpet and it went with the theme. We're talking about a garden in time. What is a garden without butterflies? And she looked beautiful in it. The back looked amazing. I thought the colors were definitely different. And I loved it. We had Lala and Alexander McQueen. I thought this was beautiful. It gave gorgeous, like red rose, dark vibes to it. And quite a few people had on black dresses last night and had on some dark looking looks. So it was crazy to see Lala in this number. She was one of the first people that showed up on the carpet because she was also an interviewer last night and a presenter. No, she was just an interviewing last night. So it was really, really beautiful to see her in this. I thought it worked well for her. Hair looked great. Makeup looked great. Beautiful look. And then last, Anna, I might mispronounce her name, Nakamura. She was in Balmain. This dress was so beautiful up close. On camera when they showed like zoom ins of it. I didn't know how much I felt about her hair. I know she's a performer. I believe she is from the UK or Canada. Let me know in the comments. I could be wrong, but she looks stunning. Her skin looked gorgeous in the dress. The detail to this dress was so gorgeous close up. It was gorgeous roses and flowers adorned everywhere. It was almost like it was on a fence. And it was really, really pretty in the back as well. So I feel like I would have loved to see her get more camera time because the dress was really beautiful. Balmain did a great job. Her skin looked amazing against the dress. I can't say I love the hair though. Let's go ahead and round this out, honey. Let's get to the end of this night. I have to give best dress to a couple of people. I wanted it to just be a few, but a lot of the ladies last night that did show up, did show out. And it was hard for me to just pick one. I do have one or two. I narrowed it down to two, but I just want to talk about a couple that I think are like just the best dressed bunch overall. First of all, Nicki Minaj and Marnie looked amazing. Fantastic. This was super fun. This was an amazing look. For me, this was one of my favorite looks of the night because I feel like we're starting to see Nikki step up her game. I feel like in the past, they always linked her with Moschino and specifically with like Jeremy Scott. And I hated the looks that she would come out in. And I did not like it. I feel like early on, the designers they would link her with, which would mostly be Moschino, would be these like, they would just play upon like the Barbie vibes of her, and so you would always see stuff that just didn't go together. Her makeup look, I think, was it last year or the year before, was one of the most coveted looks that she ever did with that whole black hat with the diamonds. It was gorgeous. It was like redone everywhere. It looked amazing on her. I didn't love the outfit, but I absolutely loved the makeup look. Um, and this year she showed up and showed out. This looked so good in the back as well because she actually had a ponytail that went like in a circular fashion, like back to the back of her neck and kind of went into like a circular, like almost like a croissant shape. It was really, really beautiful. And it's so because the front it looks like it's just a bang or a bob, and it's not. Marnie is always great with color, so she looked amazing. Maria Sharapova was in Pablo Grong. She looked amazing. I love the outfit. The bandage dress was really beautiful, along with the flowers. They had flowers, obviously, on the sleeve of her dress. Killed it, nailed the theme, was amazing. J-Lo never misses, was in Schiaparelli, looked amazing. I love this look for J-Lo too because the makeup was down. It wasn't as much of like color and heavy, and she doesn't really do super heavy makeup anyway, but for me, J-Lo never really misses. She's one of those people I enjoy, like Rihanna. Whenever they come, I want to see what they're going to do because they always plan like a year or two ahead what they're going to wear, and if they know early on, and I know Anna has gone on record as saying that she lets certain people know ahead of others what it's going to be because she knows they're going to put in the work to really show up to the carpet looking amazing. And I think that's one of the reasons that Rihanna didn't show up to begin with was because she didn't have enough time. I saw her on the Fenty carpet and they asked her and she said, she didn't really get a dress made. She didn't have anything. So that's why I think she ain't really had a flu because she was not about to be wearing just anything. But J-Lo looked amazing, beautiful with the hair, very simple. The dress does it. She nailed it. And then Rachel Smith, and she is in Johanna Ortiz. I love this dress for like the intricacies close up. It was just a green garden kind of dress with little pink flowers on it. And the closer you got to the dress, especially when they showed the camera pan of the dress, you got to see like all the little like embroidery mixed with like the little bit of the lace. It was really, really pretty on the layers. And her skin looked amazing, very simple and clean dress. Now, again, these are some of the people that I feel like could be in the best dress category for me. I mean, Zendaya was there again, showing up and showing out. She actually changed twice. I did not love her second dress, but both of her dresses were made by Margiela. It was by John Galliano, and it was inspired by the Christian Dior Spring '99 couture line. I don't know. The dresses were from that era. They were from Galliano. It was that vibe. However, it was very much also serving Hunger Games Pantheress. I know it when I see it, okay? May the odds ever be in your favor when Zendaya walks on the carpet. And they were not for everybody last night. But they were for her. She killed in both looks. But I did not love the black dress that much. I did, however, love this blue-green look. It looked fantastic to me. Again, it did serve Hunger Games Pantheress, but it was beautiful on her. She executed really well, and it told a story. Like you feel like you wanted to know about this character Zendaya was playing. It felt like she was in a character mode, and it wasn't just Zendaya in a pretty dress walking down the carpet. And that's what I love about when she works with Law is that they really come together with the story. These outfits she's been wearing through the Challenges campaign has been amazing. So it was just nice to see her continue to slay per usual by giving us something to think about as she's walking up. And then the fact that she changed into another large dress and walked the carpet again, like we had never seen her before. Love to see it. Elle Fanning and Balmain, I loved this look from head to toe. The way that they did her skin, the way that this dress just looked like a sculpture, a glass crystal sculpture. It just was beautiful. The birds on the side, it was just so well done. And she just like she was in ice and had just come out of like she was an ice sculpture, or that she was like sitting on under a waterfall, had been there for years. It was just really, really beautiful and glistening on her skin. This was just an amazing look. Tiana Taylor wore the blondes, which was unique for the carpet. I feel like she was actually in a burlesque show gown. So Tiana Taylor currently has a burlesque show going on right now, and she actually had performed it. I think it's called the Dirty Rose. And so this dress was made for that, for the blondes. But when she was going to perform, she said she wasn't going to wear it. So she decided to throw it on for the red carpet for the Met, and it worked. She looked amazing in it. We know her baby daddy, or her soon-to-be ex-husband, felt the need to tweet and talk about it. Please don't go back. And she had the blonde hair. I did not love the hair. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I was not feeling the hair with this look. The dress looked amazing on her. Her body always looks killer. And I think it should have been an updo, but I'm not sure it needed to be this. Face card never declined. But I would have loved a different hairstyle. We have Carly Kloss. She was in Swarovski as well. She was, again, one of the women dressed by Giovanni. And she had on 22,000 crystals on that dress in addition to those flowers. And I think they said it took like 5 hours, like I don't know, 5 months or something like that, or something amount of days for her dress to be made. It was a really long time. It is really intricate, really, really gorgeous and pretty. And, we don't expect the model to do anything but slay half the time. So they all look good. All right, y'all. So when it came to the winners, my best dress goes to 3 different people. I could not pick just one. One of my best dresses for the night was Kerry Washington. I love the full execution of the garden theme on her dress. She was one of the few people wearing a dark color. She's one of the few people wearing a jewel tone. I always think it's dope when people go out of the box, and Carrie did that. It was a floral train of flowers that went from her waist to the back and down. She looked stunning in it. The hair was very simplistic. Her hubby matched her. It was very cute. Like, he had on a full black suit, but he had like a little flower that matched her dress. It just looked really, really well done. It looked like 2 grown fly adults going to a gala. And I love this look on her. So Carrie slayed. Next was Elle Fanning. Again, this outfit just looked amazing to me. She looked like she was just water personified. And the fact that the skin was glistening against it just worked completely. Her hair looking wet ish, but still just having like beautiful crystals adorn her and not doing too much. Like, they let the dress and the skin work, and the glistening of the skin work to give that look. So I absolutely loved it. And of course, Nicki Minaj. I need this to be, kept up. This is the second year in a row I'm super impressed by what Nicki has on. They have unleashed her from the throes of Jeremy Scott, and they have allowed her to really thrive. I love this look. I'm looking forward to seeing Nicki on the carpet with more of these things. Now, when it goes to my least favorite outfits of the night, it's going to be a shared award. And first up, we got Paloma. I don't know what the hell she was thinking with this outfit. I absolutely hate this. I think it's supposed to be like flowers on armor with a skirt. This looked horrible. It looked like a ragtag put together. It looked like she grabbed the last few things out of a sales bin at Nordstrom's and said, this should go. I hated the way this looks. I don't like when people don't put sort of care into their aesthetic, or at least don't let a designer just put you in anything because they're like, hey, I think this would be dope. Like, we have to work together. Rihanna would never, neither would J-Lo or any of the other girls that consistently look good. They're going to work as a team. And you can tell when somebody's not working as a team with a designer and they're just wearing what the designer wants them to wear. And it shows when the outfit executes this way. So I was highly disappointed in this. Next up is Lizzo. Like I said before, it looks ridiculous. And she knows better. The designer should know better. Divine is not having this problem. And others are not having this problem. Queen Latifah, last night, I don't know. But normally she hits as well. I feel like Lizzo needs to get with those people that dress women that are fuller size, who want to not only be creative, but work with your aesthetic. Curvy girls just have a different vibe to go to in terms of people working with your aesthetic. But I'm tired of people putting curvier girls in things that just don't work. And I'm gonna say this: it doesn't matter if you're really curvy or slim, because I've seen people who don't have all of the body, some of the body, whatever, just being things that don't work. I really want people to speak up when they're being dressed by folks and say, look, this is not working. This is not artistic. Don't let the art kid in class just do anything to you. And I feel like they did that with Lizzo, and I was super disappointed. She's a gorgeous girl. So was Paloma, who was killed before. And it just was just disappointing to see. And then Cynthia Erivo, it's like she didn't try. She took a men's tux, cut it up. They put like a black thing around it and then just threw a bunch of flowers from Dollar Tree on there. It was so disappointing. And then the makeup was so severe. It was unnecessary. We know she's bald. That's been something we've seen before. It was just boring, quite frankly. It was the petals were too much. They weren't even strategically placed where it could be interesting. It was almost like someone said, "Oh yeah, by the way, garden," and just threw a bunch of stuff on it and glued it. It was so disappointing and it was lazy because Cynthia has also slayed before. So it was just not a fun thing to see. Y'all let me know what y'all think. How did you feel about the Met Gala? How do you feel about the fashions in general and the theme? What do you think next year's theme is going to be? Let me know and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye. As always, y'all, let me know what you thought about the episode down in the comments. Thank you for watching and see you next time.